You are now tuned into the Fresh Air channel, and you're listening to With Love V.
Hey y'all, it's Victoria. We are back for episode 9 of With Love V. I'm so excited. I feel like I haven't recorded in such a long time. I feel like I've been here, but I haven't been here. I just came back from Toronto, and I was up there with a group of friends for Caribana, which is a Caribbean festival. It was so much fun. Definitely going back next year. We've already decided. Only hiccup was the very rude U.S. Border Patrol agent who was about to not let us back in the country. But you know, we got back, and I'm thankful, and we're just gonna lift him up in prayer to turn his attitude around. But yes, highly recommend, should you be looking for a trip, check out Caribana in Toronto. I have a few more trips coming up, but honestly, while thankful for these trips, I will also be thankful to like sit down and not spend money, because I've been spending money, but knowing me, that probably won't last long at all. But you know, that's who I am. I like going, I like traveling. But anywho, episode 9, I want to talk about how I've been dealing with this feeling of aimlessness. Well, I would describe it's aimlessness plus restlessness. And I think I've been feeling it for a while, but it's only until recently that I was able to actually like identify it as this feeling of aimlessness. And I think it just comes from this place of recognizing that I haven't quite put my finger on my purpose. I feel like I'm circling around it. I feel like I'm getting closer. I feel like I have an idea, but it's still very elusive in my head. And I feel like I'm now in a space where I'm like trying to, I guess not figure it out, but like act on it appropriately, because now that I feel like I've identified what this feeling is, I feel like I can now take action to work with it, to better identify what I feel I'm supposed to be doing. And I think for me, I was able to identify it because I recently got a new gig that I'm very thankful for. It's a remote job, which is what I wanted really bad. And I am thankful that, you know, that was able to come to pass. But while that job has provided me with the stability I was looking for financially, there was still like this void I've been feeling. And that's how I was just like, okay, it's because like this isn't like, that wasn't really ever the issue. Yes, I have the comfort now, but the issue still remains of me still longing for something. And I feel like I'm in a space now where I have like the brain space and I have the energy to actually devote more time to better identifying, you know, and like closing the gap on like what I'm supposed to be doing in terms of like serving others. And I think one thing for me is like in reading the Bible, I've seen many times like, you know, idleness is just not something that I should indulge in. And I know for me also, I have a tendency to think so much to the point of like inaction. And so I'm trying really hard to combat that while going through this. And for me, that's just really just doing things that I know make me happy. I never want my life to be reduced to me going to work and just coming home and repeating that over and over and over again, because I feel like that's a very dangerous cycle to get into. As someone who knows I have not pinpointed my purpose and is still seeking that. For example, like I know I love music, so I've told myself that I want to pick up the guitar again, because that honestly does bring me a lot of joy and like relearning and learning new songs. I enjoy fashion. That's something I've always loved. And while I'm not working in maybe like a traditional fashion role, there are still things that do bring me joy, whether it's like me playing dress up in my own closet, or, you know, helping friends who say like, hey, I want to reinvent my wardrobe, or I'm looking for XYZ piece. So it's just doing little things that I know make me happy and I know like do speak to my soul on a certain level, and focusing in on those. Because one, if you can't identify that you're feeling aimless, it's hard to do anything about it. And then even when you do identify that thing, like I said, it can still lead to inaction because you don't know what to do with it. And I guess like my thing is, I would just encourage anyone to just go out and do as much as possible. Like if something even piques your interest in the slightest, like go and explore it. Like I love flowers, so I'm gonna take a flower arranging class. Like not that I'm about to become like a world-renowned like florist, words are things. It's still something that speaks to me. It's something of interest. I'm going to go and explore it. Doesn't mean anything has to come from it, but it will feed my soul in a way. And I also think it's like a form of self-care to do things that, you know, that you would find joy in. Because I don't think that we're meant to be on this earth to just work and then basically die. There's just so much more to life than that. And I say this as someone who like starting out, granted I still consider myself very young, especially in my career. I feel like starting out, all I did was work and go home. And my job was just so much of my identity. And in all honesty, like that didn't work out for me. And I think in me giving so much time and so much energy and so much of my identity to my job, it started causing me to drift away from the things that I enjoyed doing, or like I started feeling like I became very out of touch with myself. And I count myself very blessed to now be in a position where I do have the time and, like I said, the time and the energy to explore different areas. And that's something I definitely want to fully take advantage of, because what I don't want is for me to near the end of my life and have a bunch of woulda, coulda, shouldas. I want to know that I lived out my life to its fullest extent and that I was able to serve others the way that I was supposed to serve them on this earth. I mean, there's still an element of fear there. There's still an element of like nervousness. Why? I couldn't tell you, but I don't know. I think it's getting past that whatever that blockage is and just telling myself like, girl, just go do something. Like just go try stuff. Like try a new class, try a new activity. And just letting it be what it is. Like no one has to be perfect at anything, but I know for me, it'll definitely help me in just like honing in on certain things. And I also think that through like just doing, I think it's also a really great way to like further unearth your gifts that you're given, and figuring out ways to integrate those and implement those again into doing what you were put on this earth to do. And ultimately like still serving others. In no way, shape, or form do I think that I'm supposed to have everything figured out right now, but I do recognize that there are things that I could be doing. And even sometimes I feel like I sometimes feel like I have a better idea of what my purpose is than I give myself credit for. But like I said, like the fear and also I think the stubbornness that resides in me prevents me from like, again, taking action sometimes. And my desire to just like want to know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. But honestly, that's more counterproductive than it is productive, of wanting everything to be in place and like quote unquote perfect before you move. Like you just have to move. And I keep saying it, just like and do and explore and experience within reason. To help yourself feel, I don't know, I guess like more centered, more grounded, and more confident. I feel like it also instills a level of confidence as well. But yeah, man, let's just go do stuff. Let's have fun. Let's figure it out. It'll be great. I'll keep y'all updated. Maybe play you a song one day, probably not, but you know, it'll be great. And I love y'all much. With love, V. Hey y'all, it's V. If you would like to keep up with what's happening with Love V and the other shows on the Fresh Air channel, make sure you subscribe, comment below, like, share, and just let us know what you're thinking. We love y'all. Thank you for tuning in and stay tuned.